Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we're in beautiful Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Calgary is the third largest city in Canada and the largest city in Alberta. I think there's around 1.5 million people living in the metropolitan area. This is our first time here. We're super excited to see what the city has to offer. We don't have too much time, unfortunately, so we're mostly going to see the downtown area and maybe some other places, but we're definitely going to eat and drink some staples of Calgary. So let's start. I feel like Calgary has a really nice skyline. It looks super crisp and pristine and really modern, and just generally the buildings look quite new. And then it's located right at the Bow River, and there's green spaces and stuff, so it's very pretty. I like it so far.
So walking around Calgary, you can definitely tell that it feels a little bit posh, very businessy, and apparently in 2015 it was actually ranked as one of the richest cities in Canada, or at least it has the most number of millionaires per capita in Canada. And in 2022 it was voted the third most livable city in the world. I think Zurich was number one, and it was voted the number one most livable city in all of North America. Just walking around and exploring and seeing how nice the city is, how green, we can see how it made the list of most livable cities.
We're now walking down Stephen Avenue Walk, which is this bustling pedestrian walk in downtown Calgary. There's all these restaurants and cafes and shopping and just entertainment, and all these people as well. It looks pretty cool. I feel like this city definitely reminds me a lot more of Toronto, at least the posh parts of Toronto.
We're now at a place called the Beltliner for a Canadian classic, which was actually born here in Calgary. Now, if you don't know what this is a Caesar. And if you don't know what a Caesar is, it's kind of the Canadian equivalent of a Bloody Mary. So as far as ingredients goes, it is made with clamato juice instead of tomato juice, which is a mix of clam juice and tomato juice. It has hot sauce inside, it's got pepper. The glass is rimmed with lime juice and celery salt as well. So it's got a little bit of heat, a little bit of saltiness, and it's also with that acidity from the tomato juice. You do not taste the clam juice, so if that's something you're worried about, don't be worried about it. Now, of course, as you can see from the Caesar that I'm holding, this is not a traditional Caesar. It's only been in recent years that these crazy concoctions have become a thing all over Instagram, TikTok, and whatever else. Now, ours is topped with multiple different things, including a cupcake, a cheese stick, bacon, pepperoni, a pickle, and I think that's it. Also a lemon wedge. So this thing is absolutely stacked. I've seen crazier ones online where there's been whole burgers, chicken and waffles, all sorts of crazy things. So this is actually tame in comparison. Classic Caesar taste. This one's a little bit spicy, but not too spicy. This is just so refreshing.
This was invented in 1969 at the Calgary Inn by Walter Schell. And that hotel today is, I think, the West Inn. And this actually also has Worcestershire sauce. It's like a spicy Bloody Mary, I guess. It's not too spicy for me. Sometimes it's too spicy and you can ask for more spice, I suppose. I think I like clamato juice better than tomato juice. Normally when we fly on a plane, we always order tomato juice, but in Canada you can actually get clamato juice as well, and that's what I always get. And it has more spices, I feel like, and that's why I like it. It's good.
The Caesar was actually invented for the new Italian restaurant that was opening in the Calgary Inn. And I guess the inspiration was a dish called spaghetti alla vongole. I'm sure I butchered the name, which is a spaghetti dish made out of tomatoes and clams. So that's where the whole clamato kind of inspiration came from, I guess. I don't even know where to start with this. There are so many items. I guess I'm going to take a bite of this bacon. Take a sip. Take a nibble of cheese.
Now you have it all in your nose.
And a bite of pepperoni. It's like a meal and a drink all in one. Absolutely delicious. And this is the perfect, I don't know, snack drinking combo. Yeah, this is awesome.
Pepperoni. I really like this. I wouldn't want like a whole burger on my Caesar, but I do like having like little snacks with it. And in this bar, you could actually like choose the ones you wanted and pay per item. So that's really fun. We also have another drink that is popular in this area, in Calgary apparently. But there's a debate on where it actually comes from. And this is called the Shaft. There's a debate whether this was invented in Victoria or Calgary. Either people are saying it was invented at the Living Room Bar in Calgary or at Hugo's in Victoria. But this is made out of vodka, coffee liqueur like Kahlua, but in this case it's like, I think, a Mexican one, and espresso or cold brew, and cream. So it's kind of similar to espresso martini, but I guess it's a lot lighter, right? It tastes a lot more like an iced coffee, I feel like. It's not as sweet and like boozy as like some espresso martinis I've had. I wish it tasted a bit more boozy. You can barely taste the alcohol, I feel like. If you gave this to me and you were like, oh, this is an iced coffee from like Starbucks or something, I'd probably believe it. This is really yummy though. And I don't even drink coffee, but I would drink this.
I've never heard of this drink in my life, so I'm very curious as to what this is going to taste like. You'll have to let us know in the comments if you are from Calgary or from Victoria, BC. Let us know if you've ever heard of this drink and if you think that it belongs to your city. All right, I'm going to try it now. I think it's decently boozy. I think after we mixed it around a little bit, the flavors came together a little bit more. It definitely tastes like an espresso martini. I have no idea what the difference is between this and an espresso martini, so maybe you can let us know in the comments. The only difference I know is the espresso glass, so I don't know. But for me, absolutely delicious. I love coffee. I love coffee flavored liquor, so this is a win.
Time for dessert. I mean, it's from the grocery store, but still tasty. Are you happy you tried the Caesar in its birthplace, and is it the best you've ever had?
I'm certainly glad that we did, but it's definitely not the best Caesar that I've ever had. I like them more spicy with more boozy too, of course. And this is definitely not the most spicy I've ever had and definitely not the most boozy I've ever had. But I do like the whole idea behind the additions of all these other things. I'm not sure if you can get that back home in Halifax where I'm from, but still pretty good.
Calgary also has a big tower that you can go up to. It's called the Calgary Tower. And I think that kind of makes it a lot more similar to Toronto and Sydney and places like that. And it costs $22, so a little bit too expensive for us. We usually just spend our money on food and drinks. It's 190.8 meters high, so that's pretty high. So it's time for some food, and you can't come to Calgary or Alberta in general without having some beef, because Alberta is the main producer in Canada. I think 67% of beef production is from here. We were originally going to have some steak or a steak sandwich from a different place, but we're not that rich. We don't have that much money. We don't normally eat steak because we can't afford it. And we were walking around downtown and we saw this place that was making these barbecue Alberta beef sandwiches on ciabatta bread. And we couldn't say no. So the place we went to is called Meat and Bread. And apparently it's like a small chain that started in Vancouver. And now there's like a franchise here. They also have apparently a branch in Austin, I think in Seattle. And they sell a simple selection of sandwiches and they're quite affordable. This way we could actually have 2 sandwiches and not just one. And this is the Alberta BBQ Beef Sandwich. It's kind of like stewed meat with red cabbage and garlic aioli and some barbecue sauce. It looks delicious. And I love red cabbage. That is so yummy. The bread is so nice and soft, but a little bit like crunchy on the outside. That meat, it almost tastes like something you would maybe eat in Asia. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making this up, but I really like it. I really love the red cabbage and the sauce. Yeah, this is really, really good, especially for the price.
We were originally going to go to a place called Buchanan's Chop House for our steak sandwich, but I think it was like $34, and that is a little bit out of our price range. And of course, steaks went even more up in price. Obviously, you can spend $60, $100 on a steak if you really go to a proper posh place. So this was only $14.50, which is extremely affordable. So we get to taste a little bit of Alberta beef, but on a budget. So juicy. Super beefy, sweet from that barbecue, creamy from the coleslaw, and that bread is nice and pillowy. That is absolutely delicious. And again, if you're on a budget, is the perfect spot to go for a little bit of Alberta beef. But we actually get a second sandwich as well. For our second sandwich, we decided to go with the porchetta, or porchetta if you are Italian. What this has is this minced pork with crackling, and it also has a salsa verde on top. And of course, with that same ciabatta bread. This looks really good. Oh, and it smells so porky. Super porky, a little bit oily. You've got that nice bite from the crackling, and of course you have that salsa verde on top. I would say that it needs something else though. I feel like you really taste the meat, and I guess this place is called Meat and Bread, but I feel like if it had some sort of sauce on top, it would be better. So I do.
Salsa verde.
Yeah, it does, but that's just like a little bit of an herb oil kind of mixture. It needs like an aioli, something creamy, I think. I prefer the Alberta beef, but this is good as well.
So crunchy. Yeah, it's really good. I do get what you mean though. I feel like if there was like some garlic sauce or maybe lemon sauce or I don't know, something, it would be a bit better because it is quite oily. It's still delicious though. I really like it.
I think like a lemon aioli or something like that would be good.
It's very yummy though.
By some, Calgary is actually known as Cowtown because it is home to one of the largest rodeos in all of North America, and that is the Calgary Stampede. Now, if you don't know what the Calgary Stampede is, it is a rodeo, as I said, an exhibition which has a fairground and all sorts of different foods and all these cool things. It actually starts on the first Friday of the month in July, and we're not going to be here for that. That's a month away, so unfortunately we can't attend, but we would love to come back some summer and go because it seems really, really cool. We now came to a place called Four Dogs Brewing Company, which is a local craft beer spot here in Calgary. As the name suggests, it is named after the owner's four dogs, which unfortunately have since passed away, which is really sad. The bar is really cool inside, and each dog has their own little shrine up on the wall with their own photos and their little paw prints. It's really cute. Also, as I said, very sad. And each of the beers is also named after the dogs. And I got the Sasha, which is a red ale. So let's try this out. Nice, crisp, clean taste, super refreshing. Yeah, I love it.
I chose the Elvis beer, which is a salt lime lager. And apparently Elvis was a rescue from Mexico. And I guess that's why they put lime in the beer. It's so refreshing, and it does really taste like lime a bit. It doesn't have that much alcohol. I think it's 4.4, but yeah, very, very yummy. And I think all of their beers are kind of named after dogs. And this bar is also dog friendly. So you might actually meet some dogs here. We just met one who was super cute. And they have like dog beds, and yeah, it's a really cool bar. I definitely really like Calgary. One thing that we noticed after being in Edmonton is that the transit system here is a lot better. They have like a train, I don't know if it's like a tram or a metro, or it kind of seems like a mix of both. It's like this red line that brings you to the city, and they actually have an app where you can book the tickets easily on your phone, so you don't have to have paper tickets like a million years ago. So that's really, really nice. And there's so many green spaces in the city, and everything seems really clean. But one thing that the city's lacking is definitely like a more like hipster alternative kind of area or areas. On Reddit, somebody said that Kensington is the area that's mostly hip and alternative. And we went there earlier, and there are some tattoo shops and cafes and things like that, but it wasn't really alternative or hip. So
Kensington Market in Toronto is definitely a lot better than the Kensington that is in Calgary. I feel like the vibe of places like Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal are more our style. We like a grungy factor. We like alternative punk kind of bars, places that have a lot of graffiti. And I wouldn't say that Calgary really has that, although it does have some graffiti. It feels a lot more posh and businessy. It still seems like a really nice, livable city, but maybe not totally our style, but yeah, still really, really nice. Something we really wanted to try while we were here in Calgary was this, and this is ginger beef. Now, although this is a Chinese style dish, it was actually invented here in Calgary at a place called the Silver Inn. I think it was almost open for 45 years, but it recently closed down 2 years ago. Now, they are the inventors of this dish, and if you don't know what ginger beef is, it is this deep fried beef that's coated in this really sticky, sweet ginger sauce made with a mix of vinegar and sugar. There's sliced julienne pieces of onion and carrot, and of course, there is ginger inside, and sometimes some spicy chilies as well. This is a Canadian staple. I'm not sure if it's popular in America as well, but you can find this in pretty much any Canadian Chinese menu, anywhere. I'm extremely excited to try this, even though it is a familiar taste to me and I know what it's gonna be like. We went to a place called Emerald Garden because, as I said, the original joint is closed down, so we had to find another place instead. Oh, look at this. It's deep fried, sweet, sticky. That is absolutely delicious. Sticky, sweet, crunchy, chewy. Man, this is the kind of thing you want to eat on a late night out or on a hangover day the next day. Yeah, this is really, really tasty.
Smells so good. Whoa. It's a lot more tough than I thought it would be. It's yummy though.
I like it like that. It reminds me of like jerky, even if it's not supposed to be that way.
It's really sweet. It does kind of remind me of other things like orange chicken. Although there's a lot of sauce in the bottom, like the actual pieces aren't covered as much. I feel like I have to like dunk it in. It's yummy. I wish the batter to meat ratio was a bit different. And apparently this was invented in the late 70s and it was supposed to kind of familiarize Western people with the Chinese flavors. And we're actually here at the park on campus of the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology because the restaurant was right next door and we just wanted to sit outside. And we're actually also staying here because they have on campus hotel rooms or like kind of student rooms that you can rent. Basically it's like a whole apartment with 2 rooms and it was a lot cheaper than the hotels here. So if you're on a budget like us, this is a great option because now we actually have a room each, which makes it a lot cheaper than most hotels. That's pretty cool. We're now coming to the end of the day and we're going to sit here and relax and enjoy the skyline of Calgary while we drink a little bit of the booze that we bought yesterday. We bought this in Banff. It's called Glacier Rye and it's by Park Distillery. They actually made this with glacier water. We bought this yesterday in Banff because we went on a day trip. Banff is really close to Calgary. If you want to see that, you should check out our last video. We filmed a video there and we're showing the beautiful Banff National Park. Shouldn't miss that. We're just gonna have a little sip. Oh. That's strong. I don't think this tastes like whiskey at all. This tastes like vodka to me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not good at this, but it'll do the job.
Delicious.
Does it taste like whiskey?
A little bit. I mean, it's rye. It's a rye whiskey, so it's slightly different. Not really though. It is kind of like citrusy almost. Yeah, that's really nice.
This is the end of the video. We had a great time in Calgary. Unfortunately, we didn't spend a lot of time here. Hopefully we'll come back in the future. I think this is kind of like the most modern Canadian city I've seen, apart from like the modern parts in Toronto, but yeah, it was awesome.
If you did like this video, please give it a like, write us a comment, and by far the most important thing is to hit that subscribe button. But for now, that is it, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye.